Hi everyone, Tony Ross of Max 98.3 along with Doug Griffiths. We're getting ready for what should be an exciting boys matchup, our season opener on Max 98.3, and it's going to be a dandy. Plymouth and John Glenn at the Rock, and I'm anticipating this one to be really close this year. If there's been a team around in our area that probably might be the most improved, it could be very well the Plymouth Pilgrims. Joe Grindle finally is getting some athletes here with experience, and I think that's really the big key. Guard play this year is going to be really key for them as well, but some kids like Easton Strain are going to have to really toe the line here this year consistently from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, they're going to have some kids step up, like you said, Tony. Strain being one of them. Davis is another, and I know they're going to count heavily on Ellery. He'll probably be their most athletic and one of their post presence. So those three guys will be the difference whether the Pilgrims can have a bounce back year and really improve in Joel Grindle's second season under the helm.
Well, they're facing a John Glenn team that kind of had a little facelift themselves after last year's graduation, most notably at the guard position with Silas Kaiser no longer the point guard, and one of the better point guards Travis has ever had in his umpteen years as head coach at John Glenn, but he's no longer there. Therefore, a lot of the ball handling is going to be thrown on the hands of Ty Larkin and Chase Miller. Not that those are bad selections, they just lack a varsity experience at the guard position, point guard position.
Yeah, they played a lot of junior varsity basketball last year. Now they'll be counted on heavily. Like you said, Kaiser's gone. They lost Delinsky too. They do have Dreibelbiss back. That'll help. But you saw the Falcons practice the other day, and a lot is going to be on Ty Larkin's shoulder. We know he's athletic. We watched him in football many times on Max. Can that translate to the hardwood? Because as we'll talk about, the Falcons certainly have probably the best inside presence, definitely in our area, and I'd rival them around anybody in the northern part of the state.
And that's Bryson Hanna. And now Bryson right now is even bigger and stronger than last year, if that's even possible. And he's going to give Plymouth all they want from a defensive standpoint. It'll be interesting strategy to see how Joe Grindle's going to go after Bryson. A lot of teams have tried to double him, front him, keep them in front of him. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to try to stop the beast. What I do know is he's ready for his senior year.
Yeah, and it's frightening. You came back from that practice and told me Bryson's even bigger and stronger than before. That's hard to imagine, but I would anticipate the Pilgrims doubling down on him and really daring the Falcons to beat him from the outside. I mean, they have got to make somebody other than Bryson beat them. I mean, that's a tall order. You just hope you catch the Falcons on an off shooting night, and some of those newer faces we alluded to, struggle with consistency shooting because, Bryson's a handful, and you cannot, man cover him. You've got to double and even sometimes triple cover him.
And one of those offensive juggernauts could be very easily Joe Schraplui. He had a great season last year, really came up with some big shots down the stretch. He's looking strong and ready to go this year as well. And that's back to Plymouth real quick. You look at their shooting game, Colby White from the outside, and then you throw in Easton Strain, who could play inside or out. He had a really good tournament earlier in the summer that was he was impressive. And he's one of the top three players, as a matter of fact, with a lot of good talent in that particular summer tournament. So he's ready to go. It's going to be about turnovers, it's going to be about rebounding, it's going to be about good shooting. Everything that it takes to win ball games in a basketball game is going to have to come to fruition for both teams to win this one.
Yeah, and Plymouth, they're searching for consistency and confidence because with their struggles last season, winning basketball games, they'll step on the floor tomorrow night, and one of the first questions that will enter my mind is do the Pilgrims believe that not only can they play with the Falcons, but they can beat John Glenn? So, again, confidence and consistency is what you're going to be looking for on the Pilgrim side. Now, Glenn, a lot of these guys, especially Hanna, he, of course, is the catalyst. They've played in big games. They've known how to win. They've been one of the top-ranked team in Class 3A. So it's guys like Shap Willie, who I think is the X factor for Glenn this year. If he really improves like we think he's going to be, Glenn will be right there at the end, and more than likely it'll be them and Marion battling it out again for a sectional title.
Well, we kind of hope that's going to end up being the case, because if it is, it's going to be some great basketball coming up down the stretch. But as for our first broadcast on Wednesday night, we are getting ready for what will be a fun evening between John Glenn and Plymouth right here on Max 98.3. Our pregame will be right around 7:10. So join us.